This is Bobbian back again. We're from Farm in the Heart TV show, and I have a new guest on today. I call her Michelle.
Okay.
Michelle, I've never formally met you, but we've worked together and at the cemetery, Joseph Holt Cemetery in New Orleans, and you brought along your own sense of urgency for the projects of the cemetery. And what I would like for you to do today is just discuss some of those things, why you're here, some of the things that you've experienced, and what can we do, or what can you let the community know about what can be done or what needs to be done. So start by introducing yourself.
I'm Michelle Augustine. I came to New Orleans to fix my mom's grave. And when I went to the cemetery, it looks like a minefield. It's a place that's not being kept up. And it's sad that this cemetery has been here so long and nobody goes to fix it. So after I left there, I called the city about the cemetery, and what I was told was just heart-wrenching. Because it's like that's a place where you bring your loved ones to rest, but no one goes there to take care of the cemetery. There's bones there of other people's remains, of people bring their family, and you say, I'm going to lay them to rest here. This is where they want to be. But it's like you put them in a place that's a minefield. Bones just everywhere. Don't know where they belong. But these are our families. And someone needs to help us. Because it's sad. No one should have to go and see their family members' remains on the ground.
So you said you called the city officials and you weren't able to get any help, or?
What I was told was that Hope and all cemeteries in New Orleans are revolving graves. So these are graves that they can remove your family's remains and put someone else in that grave that's not even kin to you. I was alarmed by that. So I began to make more phone calls, but I didn't get any help.
Okay. Well, I just want to say I applaud your efforts in coming here and speaking out. Holt is Joseph Holt, Holt Cemetery, which is located between the administrative building and Building 1 of Delgado Community College, which is in City Park Avenue, which is it's a cemetery that has been used after the yellow fever, and they closed down Locust Street Cemetery, which was uptown, and they opened this cemetery, which was land that was given to them by the Milne Foundation in 1800. The land was given to the city in order for them to bury the dead and to have a decent place. But for some reason, the city has dropped the ball on this, and now, years later, they're still just basically not taking care of the cemetery in the manner that they have. So I'm very glad to have her here, because I've been an advocate for Holt Cemetery for the last 7-8 years myself, and it just took someone to step up and say, something has to be done. I did the work, I did my part, but I always knew that there was something else needed to be done. So I applaud you once again, because you're the mouthpiece for everything that needs to be done. Some people can do work, like my job as an embalmer and a funeral director was to go out there and do basically what you say that you saw. Go into the cemetery and make sure that those bones are not exposed, so that family members can come and see their loved ones and not have to see other bones from other family remains. So tell me some more about you surprised me, because you said you called the city property management, and that's what the city cemeteries is run under property management. And basically, property management is all the buildings in the city they manage. So you may have a person that changes the light bulb at the city hall, also running out to the cemetery to do work out there. So you basically need someone with a sort of empathy and caring and feeling for others to do this type of job. And just a regular city worker that doesn't care or have empathy is not the type of person. And that's probably and most likely the reason why you were met with such animosity, because they don't understand. They don't have the feeling that it needs to take for to do this type of business. So tell me some of the other things that you have done. So you're here from California.
I'm here.
You paid to have the work done.
Yes.
That the city officials recommended.
Yes.
And now you come back 2 years later, and the work is not done.
Exactly.
And then, from what I understand, you called the city, asked them, and they gave you the same individual's name to do the cemetery work.
Yes.
That you had paid prior.
Yes.
And what did they say about that?
What they said was, that's not a city employee. It's just a grave digger. But these are people that are representing themselves as working for the city. So you have people like myself that come to check on a loved one. You meet the grave diggers. They say they work for the city, and they take your money. They say, okay, I'm going to do this for you, and then you come back and it's not done.
And you say they promised to rebuild you a coping, and a coping is a retainer wall that's around the grave, and it basically what it does is it works as a like a flower pot. It just retains all the dirt and the remains inside the grave. And so, from what I understand, you say that they offer to build another one for you.
Yes, for $950.
And say that they would keep the grass cut.
They would keep the grass cut and keep the grave looking nice.
Well, that's really funny, because one of the things that the city has a hard time with doing out there is keeping the grass cut at the cemetery. So they're promising to keep just your grave cut.
Yes.
And yeah, that's amazing. That's really a good job. That's a good deal, huh?
Yes.
So, did you agree to that contract, or?
I became very suspicious after speaking with the man. Something didn't seem right, because after being at the grave site, seeing all the bones, seeing the neglect of the cemetery, it's like, why would I trust him? Because it's like, you guys took my money once and it's still not done. And so for me to be able to actually go to the cemetery after Katrina, it's like I'm devastated.
So what do you think should happen, or what do you see as a possibility of happening? First of all, what do you see as a viable project to be done? What do you see as something?
What I see is for the city to hire actual people to go out and clean the graves and to work with the families to make sure that the cemetery stays clean and neat, not having grave diggers out saying they work for the city. So it's a misrepresentation for your loved ones that's out there. Who do you trust? It's first you have to build a relationship with someone you can trust to go out there and say, I'm going to help. This is what I'm going to do. You can always come and check. There's no line of communication. You call the city cemetery. They don't give you the numbers to the actual companies. They give you the number to a person. So it's like there's a scam being ran against people like me that come from out of town to check on a loved one. You get scammed out of your money. And it's not okay, especially if you're saying you are employed for the city. So when I called the city, I said, your employees at the cemetery, those are not our employees.
That's what they tell you?
Yep, that's not our employees. These are subcontractors. We have nothing to do with that.
Oh, but then they give you their telephone numbers. So they actually represent. If you given the phone number, right?
Right.
Then that means that person is representing your company.
Exactly.
So they're representing the city, if I'm correct on laws, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're working as an agent for the cemetery.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Exactly.
Yes, yeah. And so, what do they suggest doing about the money that you have lost and put out so far already?
Well, they say that they don't have anything to do with it. So it's like that's just money that's lost.
And it's the same guy that you paid 2 years ago
Yes.
Does he say that he remembers you?
He said, "You don't remember me." He said, I don't remember you." And when I said, "Well, do you work for the city?" "Yes, I work for the city." So there's really no recourse. There's no recourse.
And which other avenues have you sought at this time?
Well, I did some research to find out that this is a place that they receive money from FEMA. So how do you get money from FEMA to fix a situation and it's not fixed? So where's the money? There's no money. So when you call, they pass you along to this person, that person. You never get an answer.
And it's funny, you told me that even one time they gave you my name and said, "Well, how do you know all this? You must know Miss Bobby, huh?"
Yes, that came from Eddie Sims.
Well, because I'm always out there. I'm always out there. I'm always speaking up for the cemetery, and I fought a fight, but I can only go so far. Not a lot of times people bury their families and they can't come back. They're not mentally ready for that. It may be 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. So my position was for those people that can't come back. It doesn't make sense for me to walk out into a cemetery and see, things. And it's, for me, it's being a mortician, working in the funeral homes. I could walk past and we did. I said, "Well, there's a mandible. There's somebody's jawbone right there. There's an elbow. There's a So for me, it's okay. I don't have the same type of feeling that you would have, but I'm an advocate for people as yourself. And then when I met you, your spirit and your fire and your tenacity was the thing that made me feel comfortable and say, "You know what? Anything that you need, whatever it is that you need, whoever you need to speak with, I have the numbers, I have the connection, and you are the person that's going to take it to the next plane." I want to do, and what I want you to say to our public now, for any families that are, say something to the community, say something to the families, and how can this come back around? And I think you said you were going to do a Facebook
page.
So let us know, let the community know if it's sitting, going to the website for the city, what it is that you want people to do now, to stand up now and stuff, because now is the time. Okay?
I would like for each and every family that has a family member in Holt to come together as one. We can't fight this alone. You have the city that turn the books and don't care. Your family members are there. I'm going to be doing a Facebook page, and I want you to come to it. It's going to be Holt Save the Cemetery for the families. We have to come together. I want to be the one that we can all come together and stand before the city council and speak on the cemetery. I'm only one person, but one person can do a lot of things, but more than one can move a lot of mountains. So I'm asking, if you have a family member, a friend, if you want to get involved, we're here. And I'm ready to work. But I need you to come and help me work together to get the city to make this cemetery just like the ones that's on Canal Street, just like the ones the tourists come and see. Let Hope be that same place. It's not a forgotten place. Your families are there. Your kids are there. Let's come together and make this happen.
What do? They cover it up, and then when the family buries their loved one in there, then they'll throw those bones back and then cover that up. But the thing about it is that they only bury 4.5 feet deep.
Exactly.
Only 4.5 feet deep. Anything else, because of the water table, it will come up. So you have a lot of sinking, and it's just dirt. And what happens when it rains, the rain dissipates, the dirt just dissipates over time. It spreads up. You can't tell which grave is which. You can't tell which is the dug grave or the other grave. The next one has bones on top of it, so you really can't. And it's a beautiful cemetery. It's a wonderful cemetery. It can be a place for loved ones to come forever. We have Buffalo soldiers that are there. We have military people that are there. We have monuments out there. We have Buddy Bolden. Buddy Bolden is buried out there. Trombone Shorty is his nephew. So I was coming across the river and I saw this big Trombone Shorty poster, and I'm like, okay, Trombone Shorty has become a millionaire. Why can't he get involved to put something in it? Because that's his uncle that's there. That everyone that started, that worked in Storyville, started with Storyville, and he has something to give back. But we forget. We forget where we come from, and I saw that on my way over there, and these are some of the things. We have some very, we found the oldest grave out there, which was actually constructed in 1888. We had a group that came out and they built a coffin. Miraculously, the headstone was built with such masonry back then that it's still there. So we have done things to kind of make it more a nicer place, but we can only do so much. So, yeah, I know you talked a lot, so this is your time to talk. And I think you're going to be on a TV station today about tonight.
Tonight
also?
I'm going to be on WWL at 10, speaking out about the cemetery. I'm just asking you guys, please come to the website. Please come to that Facebook. Leave me a message. I promise to get back with you. I will be back in New Orleans in November, and I'll be ready to work. And I hope by that time I have a lot of people that have left me messages so we can get started. Thank you.